Welcome to Mo Show Live, everybody. Hey, I'm Morris Lilienthal. Real fired up about today's guest and today's topic. If you follow me on social media and you watch a lot of the posts that Wyatt and I do, Wyatt and I are fired up about basketball 24/7. And for the last several years, Wyatt and I have been big supporters of the UAH basketball program. So that's why I'm so excited to have as our guest today, men's head basketball coach, John Shulman. Let me give you just a quick rundown of Coach Shulman's resume. Coach Shulman, prior to coming to UAH this May, was previously been the head coach for 9 years at the University of Tennessee Chattanooga, where he led 2 of his teams to the tournament. He has also been the head basketball coach at McCallie School in Chattanooga and had previous stints at several universities as an assistant coach. So, Coach, thank you for working through a few technical difficulties with me this morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad you got the technical difficulties because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you just need to know how to roll the ball out, who to play where, when, how to set the defenses, what plays to call. So that's difficult enough. So, but I am tickled to have you on here and really tickled to talk about the UAH program, talk a little bit about your basketball philosophies, and really excited to see what holds for the next season for the UAH Chargers. Folks, if you're watching this show live and you've got questions for Coach Shulman, please put them in the comments below the video. I'll be glad to try to get to those questions and comments. And if you're watching the replay right now and you've got questions, I'll be monitoring the comments afterwards, and we'll try to get you any feedback we can after the show. And lastly, I think you're going to hear throughout the course of our discussion today what a great university UAH is, which UAH, if you're not familiar, is University of Alabama, Huntsville, and what an awesome basketball program that we've got here. So please like and share this video out to help get the word out about UAH and the UAH basketball program. Coach, I guess, as I understand it, you've been out of basketball for a year or two and kind of doing some other things until the UAH position came open. What kind of attracted you to do that? Because what I understand is maybe you weren't thinking originally about getting back into coaching right now, and then the UAH position came open, and what led you to want to apply for that position now, be the head basketball coach at UAH?
First of all, your son. You remember all those games I came to, and I saw Wyatt over there hanging out, and I would talk to him. Isn't it crazy? I talked to him like every game, and we were hanging out, having a blast. So one, I got attracted to UAH because my son Max was playing basketball here. And so we would come down, and this is such an uncommon program that Lenny Acuff has kind of built, is that they're great kids, and they play the game the right way, and they pass the ball, and they share the ball, and they play the right way offensively and defensively. So I kind of fell in love with coming to watch them play. Coaching is not a job like you're a lawyer. It ain't. I know you're not a host of a show. You're a lawyer. That's how you make your money, Mo, right? All right. So I would tell you that coaching is not a job. It's a calling to me. And I love coaching. I tried to get, we left Chattanooga. My family wanted to stay in Chattanooga. I left UTC. My family wanted to stay in Chattanooga. I can do without coaching. I did without it for a year. Did some ESPN work and some business work. Had to get back in coaching. My family wanted to be at McCallie, so we stayed at McCallie. I tried to get out of coaching again and was running kind of a sports agency for players and coaches, and really it called me back in again. I love if you've been a coach and you've been called a coach, there's nothing better in the world than being called a coach. And so I liked high school coaching. I didn't love it. I was bored a little bit certain times. As you'll kind of get to know me, I've got such bad ADD. I've got to be doing something at all times. And so I really, college coaching fits me. I did it for 24 straight years. I was at Wofford. I was at East Tennessee State. I was at Tennessee Tech. I was at Chattanooga. We had great success. I stopped coaching at that time for family reasons, to keep our family together in Chattanooga. That was very important to me. But all of a sudden, having an opportunity to coach at UAH. The freshman class coming into UAH is the largest freshman class in the history of UAH. 50% of the freshman class have a 30 or higher on the ACT. The average GPA is a 3.9. So I am by far the dumbest person at UAH, which I don't mind. I don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. I need to be the dumbest guy in the room. But all of a sudden now you've got an opportunity to have a big-time basketball program. 8 of the last 10 years have been in NCAA tournaments. You've got a big-time basketball program with high-level character kids at a unbelievable school in a incredibly booming city, that all that stuff adds up to make this a really good job.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I tell you, one of the things that always strikes me is, having been here, as I told you before we got started, about 11 years now, and we do have a great community here and a great local universities, is that when I come and UAH has the one of the nights that they have a home game, and they'll honor the kids, I think, for the prior semester who have like a 4.0 GPA that play athletics. Coach, that takes up the whole halftime. And a lot of the basketball players are on that list. And if they're not, I'm sure they're this close to being on it. And it just blows my mind at how smart these kids are. And then you turn around and say, hey, by the way, they're heck of basketball too.
Well, there's a direct correlation to me and to most coaches around the country. If you can take care of your business off the court, you can take care of your business on the court. You want, as a basketball coach, you want low maintenance guys. You don't want high maintenance guys. As a law firm, you probably want low maintenance lawyers. You don't want people in your organization to be running late all the time, to have 15 parking tickets and you can't get them registered for class, or to have this headache, or to have their cell phone out in class, and to have this. If you can take care of your business off the court, there's a correlation that you're going to be a pretty good basketball player if you got a little talent and you're willing to work. It's just, that comes from within, and we're very fortunate. The requirements to get into UAH are not easy, and to succeed at UAH academically is not easy, which in turn, a lot of people say, man, you can't get in anybody in school at UAH. Oh my gosh, y'all can't get in players. Let me tell you what we can get in. We can get in great kids and great students and great players that fit UAH. And so we can deal with, I don't have to have the headaches, because if you can't do it academically, you can't do it at UAH, and that means I don't have to recruit you.
Yeah. Well, you've got great kids, you've got talented kids, and you've got those kids that are not going to be a problem off the court. They understand cerebrally what you're trying to implement and do from an offensive and defensive perspective. But they're also really, my experience with getting to know some of the players over the last 3 to 4 years, these kids buy in, and they're good teammates. They buy into hard work. I see, the hard work that they put in, on and off the court, getting ready for a season. And a lot of times, if you've got some of these kids that are not bought in, that are more problematic, that may be more prima donnas, it's much harder to get them to see that. And they're more of the Allen Iverson mentality. Practice. We talk about practice, that kind of thing. So.
Well, you also see, like at the Shorter game last year at Shorter, you got this little guy named Wyatt sitting on the bench. And as a parent of young kids, you want your kids to emulate the guys that he thinks are cool guys. And so if he's out there with looking like a fool out there on the basketball court, or acting like a fool with the officials, or acting like a fool with the coach, and then all of a sudden your son sees that, all of a sudden, hey, I want to be like that. No, you don't want to be like that. You want to be like these guys at UAH. And so that's the nice thing about, for Wyatt, he gets to emulate. He gets to be the next J.J. Kaplan. He can be the next Seth Swab or Sam Orth. There's a bunch of them. I don't think he'd want to be Max Shulman, but he can be some of those other guys. But that's the nice thing is that they're great to people. They're great to kids. They're great for the community. They're great for the season ticket holders. And that's why when Amy and I tried to get season tickets to come watch Max, we got Tanner and JC in the house. We need 4 together. You can't get 4 together. What are you talking about? Is there a rule you can't get 4 together? No, there's no rule. We don't have 4 together. They're all sold out. That is uncommon, and that is unheard of, and that's what makes UAH special.
No doubt about it. And hey, don't feel left out. We've got 4 tickets, and our 2 tickets for the last several years, our 4 tickets were not together either. So we're in the same boat. We're just glad to be in the building.
I got you.
Coach, I guess talk to us a little bit about, each coach, UAH has seen a lot of success, as you mentioned earlier, over the last, 15 to 20 years with Coach Acuff. But talk to us a little bit about, what your personal philosophy may be, what we may see on the court from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint, just from a general, a fan's perspective. What can we expect maybe to stay the same, and what can we expect maybe to be a little bit different this year?
Well, every coach is different. All right. And so it was interesting. We were on the road recruiting this summer, and I was with Lenny and Casey Alexander, the new coach at Belmont. And I said, Casey, how you going to replace Rick Byrd, man? He's a Hall of Famer. How you going to replace Rick Byrd at Belmont? And very simple. He said, well, I can't be the coach Rick Byrd was. I'm just going to be Casey Alexander. That's all I can be. And Lenny said, how am I supposed to replace Casey Alexander at Lipscomb? They just went to the championship game in NIT. I'm just going to have to be Lenny Acuff at Lipscomb. And that's the deal. I'm just going to have to be me. Now it would be unintelligent to come down here and change up everything. There's no reason for that. That's why we kept Anthony Camara on staff. That's why we kept Spencer Palmer on staff. We got Eli Garrison as a graduate assistant. Two of those three have really run that system offensively. One of them has coached that system offensively for the last 6 years, Anthony Camara. So keeping those guys should keep really a very consistent look offensively. And that's where UAH has been special offensively. Lenny Acuff is gifted as an offensive coach. He is unbelievable. So there's no reason to really change that. So we started to put that in. I did have them out of their comfort level and comfort zone for the first couple of weeks of practice. We put that in. It was like kids at Christmas. They were like, oh, my gosh, we're back in our comfort zone. So offensively, I think we'll look very similar. We'll shoot a bunch of threes. We will be unselfish. I'm a big-time guy. If that ball moves and people move, I think you can get good shots, and we got really good offensive players. I think you'll see us run an awful lot. I think you'll see us run more. I like to play fast. I'm not a slow it down coach at all in the least, as you can tell with my brain. We want to play fast. We want to play really fast. But I think we're going to spend an awful lot of time on that defensive end. I had teams at Chattanooga that weren't real good offensively, but we won games defensively. Now it's almost a recruiting, who do you recruit? Do you recruit defensive guys and work with them offensively? Do you recruit offensive guys and work with them defensively? Do you try to get both? They're hard to get both. Really, in theory, if at age 18 or 19 and you can't make a shot, there is no magician on earth going to be helping you to make a shot and changing your shot, and you become this great offensive player. So what you end up doing is you recruit offensive players and you help them defensively. You can make an effort to get better defensively. It's just hard to say, man, Mo, I've seen you, Mo. I've seen you shoot a ball. You need to stay on the football field. I could teach you how to defend. It would be hard for me to teach you how to be a good offensive player. So we're going to recruit offensive guys, and we're going to help them on the defensive end. And we can help. We're going to play a lot of man and different man that you've seen UAH play in the past. But we're going to play some zone, and we're going to press a little bit. We're going to play a little 1-3-1 a little bit. We're going to trap a little bit. As they've kept people off balance offensively, that's my goal, is to keep people off balance defensively.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great, and I love that mentality. And I totally agree. First and foremost, I cannot shoot. And that's a given. And as I tell people kind of look at me sometimes and they wonder why I'm such a big basketball fan. And I tell them that, Coach, that God built me to play football, but I love basketball. And so I love that mentality. Real quick, I'd love to touch on recruiting just real quick. Talk to us just a little bit about what the difference is, if any, and I'm sure there's some, with regards to scholarships and how that may work in D2 versus D1 in terms of how many scholarships does a Division II basketball program get, and do you typically, are you awarding partial scholarships to most of your athletes, or are there some that get full scholarships, and how does that kind of typically work, Coach?
You remember back in the day when you were like, boy, you better take care of your academics, all right? If you're a good player, you better take care of your academics. That's what you really need to do on that D2 level. So D1's got 13 scholarships, full scholarships, no partials. You can't divide them. You get a scholarship. You got 13 full scholarships. D2, You have 10 full scholarships. You can do with those 10 scholarships what you want to do with them. If you want to award 10 full scholarships, you can. If you want to split them up, you can. I think right now we've got 17 guys on scholarship at UAH. So we've got a bunch of guys who are really great students. And UAH does an unbelievable job following the grid and packaging academics. So that's why they want academic kids here. So if you've got, let's say you've got a 4.0 and a 30 on your ACT or higher, then all of a sudden you're going to get free tuition. If you're even out of state, you're going to get free tuition. So if we can get good players who are great students, man, we're happy, because now we don't have to use some of our athletic aid for that kid. Maybe we can give, maybe he can get free tuition academically, and then we throw in athletically, we throw in for his housing and for his food, which saves us scholarship money, which means we can go get more players, and that's how that's worked. And Lenny did a great job of that. Lenny became a general manager of an NBA team. It's a salary cap deal. So you got to know how to play the salary cap. D2, D1 you don't. D1 you're gonna go get kids and you're on school scholarship. Congratulations. D2 you got to play the game a little bit more, and it's a game that you got to play, and that you got to get. Having Alabama kids is important, all right, because they're in state. They're not as much money, and then dealing with great students from Alabama who can play the game, who want to come to UAH. That's the niche that we got to find.
Yeah. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. A lot of our guest today is men's head basketball coach from University of Alabama, Huntsville, John Shulman. We're talking a little bit about why he chose the UAH job and wanted to be there, and about the special qualities that come for athletics and academics at UAH. And we're talking a little bit about his basketball philosophy. Coach, one thing that I know from following you on social and get to know you a little bit over the last couple of years, and is that you're big on community outreach. And I know you've been out doing a lot of legwork since you took this job, meeting people in the community, speaking at Rotary Clubs, speaking at other events, networking with the Boys and Girls Clubs. But you're also big on getting your kids to do that, getting your players to do that. Talk to us a little bit of why you think that's so important, that athletic teams and that your program gets involved in the community, and what you hope to accomplish by doing that.
Here's the deal. I've got at Chattanooga, I was the head basketball coach for 9 years. I had power for 9 years. And when you're in a position of power, you can either abuse it or you can use it. And so when you're the head basketball coach, you got power. You get put on a pedestal. It's the same thing as any other prominent CEO or whatever. We're no more important, but we're just different because we got that position. So don't abuse it, use it. And so if we can use it in a positive way, if we can get out, I've already met with Patrick Wynn with the Boys and Girls Club of Huntsville. We want to be involved because there are so many kids. See, I was an old little redneck from East Tennessee that had this dream about being a head basketball coach in college. I had a man, Alan LaForce, take me by the hand and really by the ear and pull me aside and help me live my dream. And so there's a bunch of kids in Huntsville that have dreams. And there's a bunch of kids out there that need role models. And not saying that I am one. That's why we want to get our players out there. We want our players being great role models for kids. That you never know if a kid, what a kid needs and what help. And if we can encourage, it's kind of like, I don't know, Mo, have you ever heard the starfish story?
Now let me hear it, Coach.
The starfish story is there was a major league storm. There was a huge storm. A hurricane came through and on the beach. And all of a sudden, a man walks out on the beach the next morning after the storm. And dadgum, if there's not 10,000 starfish out there that are dying on the beach, and the sun's coming and baking the starfish, and he looks down the beach, and there's this little kid, one by one, taking starfish and throwing them back in the ocean, one by one. Old man walks down there. Son, what are you doing? You ain't going to be able to save all these starfish. What are you doing? He said, I may not be able to save them all, but he picked up one. He said, I just saved that one. I just saved that one. So we may not be able to save the world while we're here at Huntsville, at UAH being the basketball, but we may save one or two or three or 15 kids and try to help 15 kids go in the right direction that we're going in the wrong direction. It's all about hope. When you lose hope, you lose your will to live and your will to do well academically. So if we can help any kids, man, it's worth our time to go out there and try to help.
Well, I think that's great. And you know, a couple of things onto that. First and foremost, Pat Wynn is awesome. I've gotten to know Pat. He's the former guest here on my show. And speaking of good athletes, he was a heck of an athlete down at Southern Miss and a really good football player. Played with Brett Favre. My brother played a couple of years down there with him before he transferred to Wofford. But they do a great job. But you were talking about earlier about you know, for example, you know, why, you know, having to emulate and have a lot of the guys at UH to be good positive role models. But there's some other kids out there that have the same thing, could be for them, but they may not have the opportunity to go to the games and be exposed to, you know, good role models like your players. And so by bringing your players to them and going to them, you're giving them that opportunity to be a positive influence on the kids. But something else that I think is important is, you know, that I've experienced over my adult life is that I found out, you know, you hear this said all the time, but it's said because it's true. And that is, you get more out of it than you know you're given a lot of times. If you're going out and volunteering, you learn so much from it, and that's why, you know, I think it's so important that I teach my son to go back and give back to the community even at a young age. But your players are getting so much out of this, and they're learning life characteristics and traits that's going to carry on to make them better men, and make them better fathers, husbands, that kind of thing. And the other thing is I think you're probably getting some team building going on there, some other things that are gonna create some characteristics that somewhere down the line of the season it's going to pay off and help you be more successful as a team.
Well, just having our kids, we went and served some food one night, and just having our kids go out and serve other people and not be the first ones to eat, and even not eat that night and just serve other people. That is so valuable. I took my 13-year-old because he needs to learn that. They all need to learn that. Just think if the world, just think everybody was more concerned about other people than themselves. And so if we can put 15, 17, 18 guys that we have in our program, you know, trying to help other people and then trying to teach their kids, and then they teach their kids, then I think maybe our world may be a little bit better place.
Yeah, we'll save a few more starfish, that's for sure. And you know, not only you're gonna ingrain yourself even more in the community, and the community is going to want to help and support your program on the back end. Not while you're doing it, but certainly a good benefit as well. Coach, I guess as we get ready to wrap up and talk to us a little bit about the team, the current team that we've got, and you know, we're coming off an NCAA tournament appearance, and I know from following the team last year with your son on the team, you really knew the players pretty good bit before you even became the coach, and now being through the off season and getting ready here in preseason. Talk to us and tell us a little bit about who you've got coming back and what you expect us to see as the season kicks off.
Well, I think last year's team, I think the best part about their team, and I think their best player on their team was their team. I think it was a team. You know, I think they started the year, they had lost Jay Ward and Kip and Chase, and I really don't think they thought they were going to be very good. And they were picked, I think, 9th in the league, and all of a sudden they're in a panic, and they don't have a guy and the guy, and everybody kind of played with the chip on their shoulder a little bit, and all of a sudden their team became a really good team. I saw them in Tampa because I went and watched Max play. I mean, they were thrilled to win a game down there, to win one game. And then all of a sudden, you know, when you don't worry about the results and just worry about the process, good things happen. They weren't worried about the results. They were just worried about the process. And all those guys are back. Now, we just got a preseason top 10 ranking in the country. You know, does it give us the big hit, or does that make us work harder? Do we fear it, or do we embrace it? So, you know, that they know they're pretty good. All right. They know they got a chance to be pretty good. And that's what it's up to us coaches to be on them and to blast them and to make sure that we don't go in that direction, that we go in this direction. But really, we got four starters back. You know, you got Seth Suave, who will be a 3-year starter at the point. You've got Sam Orff, who's the most competitive human alive. He is back. He was a 2-year starter really before he got hurt his freshman year. He will be a junior. You got J.J. Kaplan that's kind of came out of nowhere from averaging 1 point a game to all of a sudden to being a daggum all-conference guy. You got Dalton Barkley, who started at the 5 last year, who kind of, it's funny with the Princeton offense that we're running, it's really not the point guard that kind of runs the offense. It's the 5-man that runs the offense. So Dalton Barkley at a 5 really is kind of the point 5-man who does a great job with their offense. And then you got Kearney Lane, who's had a great offseason, who is one of the nicest, best humans in the world. You got Kearney coming back, kind of playing time at a 4 and a 5 last year. You got really good at it. You got Malik Cook, who went from 328 pounds that he played at last year. I'm just kidding. He wasn't at 328. But he was about at 235 last year. And now he is about 210 to 212. He looks incredible. You got Max Shulman, who will, I've told everybody, he will start, play every minute, and take every shot because his last name's Shulman. Just kidding about that one, too. So you got Max back, who had a really neat freshman year. You got who everybody's talking about is the young man Tristan Chambers. And TC transferred in from Samford, sat out last year, and is really gifted. And he's really gifted. He's almost too gifted at times. He can go create a shot for himself anytime he wants a shot. And so trying to get him playing with the other guys and trying to get them to mesh together has been really good. It's going really well. He is really talented. He's one of those guys that could put up 35 in a game without even trying to hold really that difficult of a time trying too hard. So he can really shoot it. He's really athletic. He needs to be better at getting to the foul line. Really good. But then we got a bunch of other guys. We got, Henley Edge will be a redshirt sophomore. Riley Webster will be a redshirt junior. We've got Ryan McDaniel. I do want to talk about, we've got a local kid, Nathan Moore, that's going to be a really good player at Huntsville. He's a talented young man. He's got great size. But I'm just going to tell you all of, like David Anderson has stepped up. It's had a really good preseason. We're just trying to get through this initial part. It all comes down to me, playing time, and all comes down to is trust. Do I trust you when you get on the court that we call something and you're running that and you're doing exactly what the coaches have asked you to do? If I can trust you, I can play you. Then you just got to have a little talent. So we got a bunch of guys who are pretty daggum good. Charlie Gossett's he's a young kid from Grissom. He's had a really good preseason. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, you've got a great group of kids there, and I hope that you guys can use the success that they've had in the past and in the last season to really expand upon that and do. Folks, what I would tell you, one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize, Coach, with D2 athletics, is that a lot of local people, while we have great support here, but this is for anybody maybe watching the show around the country, is that there's a lot of great athletes that just get missed or just maybe undersized a little bit. And there's a lot of great competition. I've been a part of and witnessed games that you guys played, UAH played, or been a part of games, 20 years ago when I was playing college football, that if that had been broadcast on CBS, they would have said that's the best game I've ever seen, or one of the best games, or most athletic, or one of the best, performances I've ever seen. So I think people think because there's not 25,000 people in the stadium or arena, or there's not 100,000 people watching and rooting them on like at Alabama or Auburn, that they're not going to see a great product, and they're 100% wrong.
Hey, Mo, so if you play D1, that means you're good and you have 25,000 people in the arena. Incorrect. All right. UAH's support, our attendance was better than over 100 Division I programs. All right. I can't get a Division I program to play us. Why? They ain't going to get beat. I'm just going to tell you, they're scared about playing Division IIs that are really good. So we got pros. We got pros in our league. We got pros every year in our league. If UAH can come at, listen, we got a 6-foot guy. It looks like he works at a concession stand selling ice cream. Just signed a 2-way deal with the Orlando Magic, Josh Majette. That guy's unbelievable. He's playing in the NBA. You can play in the NBA. You can play overseas. You can play professionally. from anywhere, D1, D2, D3, it doesn't matter. And so we've got a great product. We've got a really neat situation. But we want guys that want to fit us academically, fit our community, fit our basketball program. And that's why Lenny Acuff did a great job with his staffs on getting great kids in this program. And we're going to continue doing that.
Yeah. Well, folks, I want to, encourage you, if you live in the North Alabama area, to come out, go to a UAH game if you can find tickets. But seriously, you can get in the door and come watch a game. And I think once you get there and you do, you'll be blown away at the atmosphere. You'll be blown away at the level of competition. And that's the other thing too, coaches. Not only do you guys put on a great product, but I've gotten to understand in the last few years that there are a lot of great teams in the Gulf South Conference. And I know there's been a little bit of turnover in the coaching world in the conference, but that's because there have been a lot of great programs that have led them opportunities elsewhere. So you guys have a lot of great competition. So folks, come out, support UAH, support your local university. Coach, when do y'all start season, and when does first practice start?
Well, we're allowed 4 hours a week on the floor. So we are taking full advantage of that. So Sunday nights we're in the gym from 6:15 to 8:15 at night. Coach T does a great job in the weight room. That's a day. 5 o'clock we're in the weight room. 6:15 we're on the basketball court till 8:15. And then we've got a character coach, Taylor Edge, does a phenomenal job. We spent 45 minutes just talking about the word trust and what that really means. We did that Sunday night. Tuesday we were lifting, and we're back on that court for an hour. We're back on that court later on this afternoon for an hour. We lift and condition tomorrow morning. We're such nice coaches. We actually give them Friday and Saturday off in the off season just because we're great people. And then we will start officially with 20 hours a week on the floor October the 15th. And so October the 15th, we'll start practice officially then. October the 19th, we're at Tennessee Tech with the scrimmage. That next weekend, we're up at the University of Tennessee. We're scrimmaging Lincoln Memorial. And then we've got Miles coming in for our last scrimmage here on like November 3rd. Then we start the season that next Saturday at Montevallo. We play St. Leo out of Florida at Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and such great scheduling. We play the next day at noon. So we play at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. We play at noon on Sunday, and then we have a little time to kind of regroup. And then, so I'm just excited. We got a good home schedule. We got 14 home games, playing one game over at the VBC. It's Rocket City Classic. We want to get a great schedule. We want great support. I will second your wish there. Come to one game. You don't have to buy season tickets. You will buy them after you come to that one game. Come to a game. Check us out. See how much fun it is. If you got young kids, come to a game. Bring your kids. It's a lot of fun. They will make you come back, and they will make you buy season tickets. And then stick around and meet the guys after the game. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I just second and third that. We thoroughly enjoyed it. That's kind of how we started, and I fell in love with it and the players are truly accessible and they're good role models for your kids. It's a great product, and there's no traffic leaving, so I love that. So that's just a side benefit. But folks, I'm going to put a link to the basketball schedule in the comments below, so you can kind of check out the dates for when the UAH starts. And follow them on social media. They've got great presence on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So follow them to kind of keep up what's going on with the season gets started here with preseason. The full season gets started in October. Coach, thank you so much for taking time today. Look forward to the season tipping off, and look forward to a bunch of victories.
I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate being on your show, Mo. I love you and your boy. Tell Wyatt we need some ball boys. We will need ball boys out on that floor, ball boys, ball girls. We need them out there. Come watch the women's program, too. Come watch us both. It's a lot of fun. A lot of excitement going on over there. Kate Smith's done a phenomenal job with that volleyball program. They're rocking and roll. I think they're 7-1 to start with. So we got a lot of excitement. Come on over and check us out.
I agree. Coach, thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, man.